Why are you so far away?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Open Gates, where we talk about everything live.
Good morning.
Yeah, we're trying to get situated.
I got my
We're not used to sitting on these chairs.
I got my wife's house. My wife's house. I got our house. And our house tore up right now.
It's a little
Remodeling some things, so
It's a little out of place right now.
bear with us.
So we are coming live to you right here.
Looking at everything.
Yeah.
So
Y'all can only see what's behind us.
you don't want to see.
It's a big.
Looks like a construction zone. Might have been a little construction going
There
on.
might have been a little construction going on this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good, y'all. Y'all can't wait till y'all see it after it's done. It's so
Yes.
beautiful. I would never, listen, I would never have chose green, but I chose green and I love it. I absolutely love it. But I want to talk about something real quick before we get started. Maybe it'll lead into something. Who knows? So we talk about life here, right?
Amen.
So we had bought a different color, and we had bought another color first. We had already planned we were going to paint our back room with this color. And I was like, oh my goodness, what if we paint the dining room that color? And so my husband begins to put that color on the wall. And it triggered me. The color of the paint triggered me because it seemed so dark on the wall. Well, you know, in my past, my whole house was dark, very dark. I'm talking dark, the darkest colors you can think of, like red, dark red, burgundy, hunter green, like everything was dark. And so when he put that paint on the wall, it just immediately triggered me to like going back to that dark place, because it was a dark place, you know. That's the reason why everything was so dark in my house, is because I was in a dark place. And so it just triggered me back there, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go back there. You know, I mean, that's what I thought in my mind was, I don't want to go back there. I haven't even told my husband what my thoughts were, or, you know, why I started crying. I mean, he kind of knew, but he didn't know. So he's finding out as you're finding out. But I just began to cry, and I was trying to hold it back. And then I remembered my husband, I remembered a live we did. We're like, no, don't hold it back. Let it out. And I just cried, and I cried for a little while. And it was good. It was really good. So I'm kind of glad that happened, because it was good. I was able to release that. What do you say?
I mean, you said opposite.
Woohoo! So
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, we've talked about this before on a live video, but guys, when we go through life each and every day, we have experiences that would seem new to us. But a lot of times, we also have experiences that we would say is from the past, something that's suppressed down in there. And it could be a person, it could be a movie. In this case, it was the color of a paint that triggers you back to that experience. And a lot of times, you know, I was thinking about this when she was crying. I was just holding on to her as she was crying, and I was just like, babe, just cry. But you know, I go through the same thing at times. A lot of times I go through it on, like I went through it on Sunday. If I could be honest with you, I'm watching the Amen. I'm watching a basketball. It's kind of like a history lesson on some basketball things in Houston, and what was going on in Houston, and how, and some of the players that they were interviewing, they were just telling their story. And I was like, man, I get really emotional when it comes to basketball, because basketball
was your life.
Was my life. Like, literally was my life. I lived and died for basketball. And ever since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, you know, so my grandfather played with Wilt Chamberlain. It was always in our family. We were big basketball fanatics. And I always, I was determined to go to the NBA. And as funny as it sounds, in that day, it was real funny because they were like, Chad, you are not going to be taller than 5 foot nothing. And there ain't, you know what I mean? And so, but then here comes players like Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues and those kind of things give you hope, right? Well, anyway, what I'm saying is when those experiences come, we have to learn to embrace them. They're coming back again for you to embrace them, for you to recognize exactly what it is and what it's not. That's the key thing, what it's not. I mean, it was something, but is it that anymore?
Right.
And I think that's why it's important for you to embrace it. Because if we keep telling ourselves these different excuses and we keep suppressing it, then it's going to keep coming around. It's going to keep coming around. And so, oh, this is why I was saying that. Have you ever looked at things like this? Like, this is what I told my oldest son. I told him one time, I said, Braden, a lot of times as boys growing up, we can be so fixated on not wanting to be no punk. We can be so fixated on not wanting to show emotions. And I told him, I said, your dad lived his life like that. I didn't want to be a punk, but deep down inside, I had emotions. There was a feminine side that I was suppressing, and I had emotions. But as a kid growing up, especially a boy in an area where I was growing up, you couldn't cry. You know what I mean? Let alone our dads telling us, hey, every time, like my stepdad, well, my adopted dad, first of all, when he would spank us, he'd be like, hey, you know what? You better hush that crying up. I'm gonna give you some more. And so you can just picture it as dads telling you, hey, wipe away them tears or suck up them tears or whatever. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are listening to this, are going to listen to this, can relate. So you put on this facade that you have to be so hard. And from there, you build a life upon that sand, so to say. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening is you become angry and bitter inside because you're hurt.
Well, and because you've had to suppress your feelings.
With that being said, a lot of times we do the same thing with things that happen to us that we don't like. So it's not just about being hard. There's some issues that we might have went through in life or some circumstances that we just don't like that. And deep down inside, we might have got our feelings hurt or something. And so we suppress it and try to overcome it just by being invincible, so to say. You put on that shield, and we'll call it a shield of faith, but actually it's the shield that suppresses those feelings deep down inside of us. You know what I mean? And then we'll role play ourselves into faith that it's not going to come back around. But what you need to understand is you got to embrace those times. So that's why I think it was important for Tanya to just unleash the tears. Those tears are tears of freedom.
Yes.
And you guys understand that too, that those tears are tears of freedom. When you shed those tears, it's a cleansing going on. And so, that's when we first talked about something like this in the live video, that's what Tanya was saying. Hey, go to the park and yell. You know what I mean? That's a freedom speech. And now you're free, right? The tears are a cleansing thing. It just cleanses you from the inside out. And then you can move on from there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can look at those things differently now that you know who you are. Now that I know who I am, I'm able to look back. So when it triggered me, I'm able to look at that and look at it differently and not think of it as a bad or a dark time, but as a growing time.
Donovan said each color has a frequency too. Yes.
Absolutely. Because this is the thing. So we love these colors so much that we put on the walls this weekend. And so I'm glad you said that, Donovan, because I was thinking, because I've heard about the different colors. Because I used to work in this doctor's office. And one day I was like, why are these walls pink? Like, why did this man choose pink?
What's my shirt doing
for this wall? Well, it was a very light pink. And so one day I asked him, I was like, doctor, why did you paint these walls pink? He began to tell me about the colors of like colors on the wall and how it makes people feel. And so he chose a color that was going to comfort, I guess I can't even really remember what he explained to me, but he explained that the reason why he chose those colors was because of how it makes people feel. So if you have, a darker color,
yes,
it's going to make you feel this way. If you have a bright color, it's going to make you feel probably happy, like if you have yellow on your wall, it's bright yellow, it's going to make it's like the sun, it's going to make you feel happy. And so yes.
I told DDO, I said, bro, when you get here, this room that I'm redoing, I said, you're really going to be living in the waters now, because we painted a certain blue.
Yes.
The more and more I look at it, that blue is just like, it's almost like calming seas. It's just like, and then you're off in La La Land. So,
yes.
Anyway, what else you got, baby? That was good stuff.
That's it on that. What did you read about this morning?
I did read the Chabad this morning. And so, the Chabad, the daily dose of wisdom. Okay, it's talking about the wise child. It says, the wise child asks a perpetual question of wonder. The wise child asks the same question each year again and again. Because the wise child, sorry, I'm thinking about the enemy. The wise child is bothered by the question. The wise child grows with the question. And the answer from last year, as good as it may have been, is not good enough for this year. That is wisdom, to ask a question of perpetual wonder. Even once it is answered, today is another Exodus. Today, the wonder is renewed.
Wow, that's good.
What you got from that, Mama?
That's good. Because we should be constantly growing. We should be constantly growing, I mean, Chad and I, we get a revelation, and I'm telling you, it could be days. It could be days, and we're getting an even higher, greater understanding. So so we should be growing every day. We should not settle for what we've learned, what we've heard, what we've been taught. We need to be growing all the time. Like every day, every minute is a growing moment, And that, oh wow, yes.
Let me tell you one of the things that's helped me grow and continues to help me grow. And this is, I said it the other day because I said, man, this sounds so cliche. But you're going to be like, what? How the heck is that helping you grow? But have you ever stopped for 1 second? I love you too, Donna. Have you ever stopped for 1 second and just been like, hey, it's okay for what is to be what it is?
It is what it is.
Like, that saying is what I brought up. It is what it is. And in that is part of it, it changes so often. And do you just allow it to change? Just allow it to be changed. Because then you can ask the perpetual question. You can be in that wonder. You can become like one of these, right? Like little children and just be, and then your imagination goes and you're like, what if? Or could it be? Right? These things will start to stir up in you. And then what will begin to happen is, I think you'll release a lot of feelings and emotions. You'll release it for you to see it. And once you can see it, then you can go, whoa, I didn't think that was in me. Whoa, why am I being like this? Why am I seeing it like this? Why am I acting like this? Why am I feeling like this? It's because when you just let it be, it's going to reveal something to you from within you that a lot of times you might not like or you don't understand because you haven't yet experienced it. We get too comfortable when we think things ought to be the way we think it should be. And I think in this life of abundance, it wants to reveal that things are much more than what we think they are. Think about that.
Yeah. And so when you say it is what it is, Well, at that moment, it is what it is, and just let it be, right? I mean, that's what I think about when you say it is what it is. It is what it is at that moment, because we're in the moment. We're not looking back to the past, and we're not looking to the future. We live from the moment, from this moment right now, the
Right.
now moment, because we are the now. So whatever it is at that moment is.
Yeah. So what perpetual questions do you ask yourself? I mean, I was given the word question 2.5 years ago. And so that little daily dose of wisdom right there hit home with me, because I'm like, everything's a question for me. Even when I get a revelation and I'll share it with Tanya, and then I give it, then I go, whoa, hold on. But what if? You know what I mean? Even when sometimes, do you understand that in our complacency, we get to conversating, and then we'll spew out something from our mouths, and it'll be still eating from that tree of knowledge of good and evil. Like, we'll give it a flip coin, a flip side of each coin, and so we'll only do heads. Oh, well, that's like that. Well, the reason for that is that. But I'll always ask the question and give it tails too. Well, but what if? But what if? Do you ever do that, guys? If not, I would encourage you to. Because I don't know that there's ever certainties. We try to make them be certainties. But what is really a certainty? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about that. I don't know where that came from, but it must be for me. So, but what is a certainty? What's certain? What are you certain about? And are you sure you're certain about it? Because if it can change, then it's not a certainty, is it? So, what is a certainty? Wow. That's a great question. I think that was for me, guys. So you can go ahead and take notes on it too, but I'm going to have to ponder on that one today, because I think that was for me. Just think about those things. Whatever those things are, as you walk throughout your day, go, man. Because a lot of times we've created our reality to be the same, and that's our comfort. As long as hey fam, as long as it's the way we like it or the way we think it should be, then we're comfortable, right? But when it steers away from that, it is what it is. Does that ever come to mind? Well, it is what it is. Or do you try to make it conform back to your comfortability? Because if you try to make it conform back to your comfortability, now guess what? Now everything that goes whack or is in confusion or you think is stressful, chaos, you're seeing it outside of you, but then you go to put the blame game on, and really it's coming from within you because it's taking you out of your comfort zone. Does that make sense? Have you ever made real money in your life here in this world? I love it. Listen, we got to get, Donovan, we're going to have to get you on a live one of these days, maybe on a weekend or something like that, because Donovan stir you up. Like, when we had him down here in Wichita Falls, and he was at the building, and we got into his Yahweh Highway, or what was the shirt? Something, the shirt. He had a shirt. Oh my gosh. He started asking questions, and have you ever been like, I'm going to put, this is crazy, but don't do this, guys. Don't do this at all, okay? Because this sounds really mean. But have you ever got treats and you're trying to train your dog and your dog is sitting there drooling because he wants the treat? Well, when Donovan was talking, I was in awe and I was like, give me some more. Come on, give me some more. So, it just stirs you up with some questions, but I want to give a shout out to Kendra. Kendra! What's up,
Good
sis?
morning, Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle. Oh, good morning. Guys, listen, do you have anything else for you? I got to get to work, because I want to be on here with you guys all day long. Is that okay? It's coming, right? So, we're going to get our little studio show set up, and we're going to have a talk show, and all you guys are invited to our talk show, okay? To where I'm just going to ask questions, like what we talked about earlier, and you guys are going to give the dialogue. Mm-hmm. That's going to be amazing. So,
yes.
What was I going to bring up? Oh, guys, on Fridays we do a live video, and it's in the Quantum Kingdoms Creative Academy group thing. I don't know what that's. We need to find a little acronym for that, because that's like 50,000 words right there. We need to put it down into one. You know what I mean? I don't know what word starts with a Q, but we're gonna figure it out. But Let's see. She says, hi.
Yes, you too, sister.
You too. But, guys, this group is amazing. And the group that you're with and you're around is amazing too. What I mean by that is, think about the atmosphere that you're around. Okay? And then stop for a second and think about the atmosphere you create. Do you like the atmosphere you're around? Because you're creating that atmosphere. And think about how that takes effect from each individual. Each individual is creating an atmosphere. So what kind of atmospheres are you around? I say this all the time, and I had sweatshirts made, but there was a gentleman that liked my sweatshirt so much, so I gave it away. But I made these sweatshirts, and it had little angel wings, and I put in the middle of it, atmosphere shifter. Because each and every one of us are atmosphere shifters. And what I would do is then, when I had the sweatshirts made, is we'd go out to every public place, and we would just love on people. You know, it was one of the street ministries that we had. And we would go and love on them. If they wanted prayer, we'd pray. But, you know, as we continue to grow, we understand that our very presence is shifting atmospheres. Who we be is shifting atmospheres. And the same goes for each and every individual that you come across. And you know you can feel the energies, right? It's like this. Everywhere you are, maybe you're not around individuals, but like Tanya felt an energy of a color this weekend. So think about that. You have an opportunity to shift that atmosphere. And I'm saying, listen, all things are possible to those who believe. So don't think this is too twisted, but it's not that Tanya could change the color on the wall, but she could change how she sees the color on the wall. And that's shifting the atmosphere. And I think it's important that we recognize that, guys, no matter where we are. You'd be like, well, I work in an environment where I'm like, maybe you work in a factory where you're just on the line by yourself. Well, you have an opportunity to shift that atmosphere. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and the kids are at school, so now you're there by yourself and you clean, you cook, you do whatever moms do when they're home by themselves. You have a chance to shift your atmosphere, right? Maybe you're around a bunch of people. And so it would seem chaotic. It would seem like chaos 24/7. I'm around a bunch of people, and then sometimes I'm just around the same people. And I posted on Facebook this meme that says me walking into work when everybody else has an attitude. And I'm Big Bird, and everybody else is like Darth Vader and his troops. Well, you could be that person. Well, you are that person.
Yes.
You are that person. You just have to recognize it. When you start to recognize that, it becomes your reality. And guess what, guys? When it becomes your reality, it becomes everybody else's reality. Mm-hmm. Because now you've shifted the focus. Now
I like what Donovan said. He said, I'm trying to be aware of all of my surroundings and alchemize every environment I am in.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here, guys. So I just want to leave you with that today. I'm gonna read this short reading right here. And we'll see what we get from the reading. But exactly what Donovan, creative kingdoms everywhere.
Create kingdom everywhere your feet tread are given to
Yes,
you.
yes. Amen. Amen. And that's it. It's important, guys, because it starts with you. It starts with you. And I would say it starts with us, but us, somebody might take it literally and think collectively, right? Well, stop for a second. Now, it does, we do have an effect, okay? But stop for a second and go look in the mirror and hone in on that it starts with you. Because then when it starts with you and you're shifting, then everybody else, it's like Jesus said, follow me, that everybody else will follow. It's not the following you literally as in your person. It's following the Christ that's in you. It's following the presence, the very essence of God that you are. That's what's being followed. That's what shifts atmospheres. That's love. That's the fruit of the Spirit, right? And in that very being of the fruit of all those different attributes of the fruit of the Spirit, right? That's where love conquers all, right? So just think about that as you go about your week and your day. I'll read this reading right quick and then I'm going to start the truck. But it says assumption. There's a great word right here. Assumption. Meaning to suppose, to take for granted without proof as the basis of argument. To take or put on fictitiously. When one assumes, it is a projection. If a relationship really matters, ask questions. Seek clarity. Many are done being a mirror for those who still assume much. I am one of those who are dumb, or who are done. Shalom, shalom. If you want a copy of that, I'll send it to you, okay? Because I know I kind of read that fast. But there's a lot in there, right there, okay? And you got to ask yourself, I know it says it here, many are done being a mirror for those who still assume much. But think about this. Go look in the mirror and be done with the mirror for those. For all those different identities that come across your plate throughout the day that are fictitiously telling you something, assuming things. And get out of the place of assumption, right? And get into the place of knowing. That's your very being. What do you know? And it starts with you. What you got, babe?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to read what Donovan said.
Yes, come
on. He said, yes, we are creators in everything and in everything that flows from our hearts, not just our mouths. Ooh. That's so good because we talked about that probably last week or so. That even the energy that we bring is felt. You know, so even the energy that we bring into the room is felt in the atmosphere. And because we had talked about how we felt the energy, when we feel the energy shift, you know, when we're together, we're doing, and we're maybe something triggered or whatever, you know, maybe someone said something and we took it the wrong way or whatever. And so we feel the energy shift. And so we've talked about that, how we even recognize that. And so we'll say, hey, I feel that your energy has shifted, you know? And so, yes,
that's
it's not just coming from our mouth, but it is coming from everything. It's coming from the way we look at someone. It's coming from the way maybe, you know, our smile or the energy. There's so much.
Guys, this is a big deal. It's, like what Donovan is talking about is connecting so much here. It's amazing. But this is a big deal when we're talking about guard your heart. Because listen, I know for a lot of us, we've been taught to guard our heart against things outside of us. But I don't know that that's necessarily what it's talking about. Now you, man, listen, if you have a revelation of this, share it with us because there's no right or wrong. Okay. It's all growth and opportunity here. But what I think, what I know, is that it's not telling me to guard my heart against you guys or somebody else out there or anybody else out there. It's telling me to guard my heart against the thoughts that come from my mind that are not in love, that are not seated in the position of love. So I'm guarding my heart against that. So it's nothing outside of me that I got to guard my heart against. It's everything that conjures up inside of me. That's outside of the Christ mind. When I've released a position of being on the throne, like DDO was talking about over the weekend, when I am not on the throne, if I'm not seated in heavenly places, then those thought patterns that come through my mind, that's what I need to guard my heart from. And just something to think about, because a lot of times we say, oh, we got to guard our heart. And so we put a fence between us and somebody else. That somebody else is just showing us what was in us. And from that position, then we know to guard our heart. And what does it really mean to guard? I think sometimes this stirred me up. Sometimes we think guard is in like protect to keep away. But let me flip the script for 1 second here and think about this. What if it's to guard your heart means to guard, to keep it in until you recognize it, to own it, not suppress it, but to own it. Like guard your heart from actually just throwing it out there. So guard your heart for you to recognize it. What if it says something like that? What you got, babe?
Well, I'm just saying, because what you're saying, and then what Donovan is saying is he said all those inner thoughts about others that we make and don't voice. Yes.
That's so good.
Then he said how we view and perceive what others do that aren't in fairness to all. That's so
right there,
good.
Right there. So, just something to take in as you go about your day. But I gotta go start the truck, babe. So, stir it up, babe.
That's good. I gotta get to work too.
Okay. Well, we're gonna end with that one. We're gonna end right here. Thank you guys for bearing with us with the background. Actually, it's a good background because I see my beautiful wife back there in the picture. So, and then we'll keep letting you guys know as the progress comes. For those of you guys that aren't on here, man, I can't wait to see you guys again. It's gonna be an amazing time. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. You know, Alex Begley said that one time. And we were down there at God's house in
when
Houston.
When he said that, that's exactly who I thought about.
And sister said like this, like Sheila had passed her the mic, and she's like, "Hey, you know, was it in the store? Was she in the store? I don't remember exactly where.
Yes,
so she was in the store, and she's going around shopping, and I don't know if she wasn't paying attention, but I don't know exactly what's going on. So I'm paraphrasing here, but like she smashed into somebody, bam, and her thought was like to be, oh, I'm sorry, and then, or no, her being was like to be, I'm sorry, and then her thought was like, oh, I'm not sorry, like. Okay. All right. And that goes back to, it just is what it is. Like so many times we've just projected things because of what we've taken on in our comfortability. You know what I'm saying? And then we come back across those things, and it's trying to get us out of complacency into growth, right? And opportunity. So I love you guys, man. Thank you guys for sharing your morning with us. Tanya's got a few amazing words that she wants to share with you guys. I'm going to go start the truck, but listen, I am going to leave you with this. Go look in the mirror and smile. It's a beautiful thing. Like, listen, I want to challenge you with this, okay? If your cheeks ain't hurting every day, you're not smiling enough. So I want to challenge you to smile so much your cheeks hurt. And then you know what? I'll take the blame. Be like, that daggone Chad. It won't be on the devil no more. It'll be like, that daggone Chad. That daggone Chad. He got my cheeks hurting. I just want you to go smile and watch what it does. Watch how it shifts atmospheres. Just look in the mirror and smile. Oh my God. Can you just, listen, you might not be in front of a mirror right now, right? But are you picturing how beautiful you are? I am. You guys are amazing. And when you smile, that light shines brighter, so bright that it has other people going, well, I sure look beautiful today. Oh, I've always looked beautiful. Amen? Yes. That's who you are. I love you guys.
We love y'all. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful day. Thank y'all for coming and sharing the morning with us. Y'all are awesome. Bless y'all.